coming up to our first area. So this is really thick through here. Mike, could you slow down for a second? Stop. You got all this big, you know, knee to waist high brush kind of keep getting throughout this whole thing. So depending on how high saplings are, it could be difficult to see. We are currently in an area that cross-cuts the location we were given. And we're seeing lots of trees, pretty good growth. It's less regular as some of the places, but we're definitely in here. And they're pretty big enough to probably see pretty well. This is good. There's some more just all the way through here. And I definitely noticed less in the taller brush, but it doesn't mean they're not there. Like this guy here, which are probably pretty hard to see from any sort of map. Again, what I'm noticing is that the trees are all over in here where everything's been taken down, managed, and we're not finding anything over in these areas. Yeah, what I'm noticing is that in these open spaces is where we get all our trees. I can count like 15 of them right here just easily across this spot that's been kind of worked over. I don't know if this picks it up or not, but on this far hill slope over here, you can see there's little kind of streamers going up this hill. It looks like someone's done something. I'm curious, maybe there's trees planted in that stuff. It looks like the trees are kind of centralized in these areas where they've done more work. So while Micah is getting some panos in this area with all this good coverage, I'm sort of devising what sort of map I'm going to do. I'm going to get this big open area around here. I'm going to do my best to keep it away from these trees, which I'm going to use this road as an indicator when I'm on the map, because I'm offline right now, of how I'm going to do it. So we're not going to get anything up into there, even though it's on our KML. I'm going to try and constrain everything in this big open area where there's lots of trees. So what I'm doing here, Micah is going to take the drone up, and this is one of the biggest trees I see in the area. I'm going to try and not have my map go into that, but just in case, I want to see how tall this is, see where I'm safe. Good to know. You see Micah's got a battery pack right here feeding her smart controller for the Mavic 2 Pro. That smart controller for the RC, or the smart controller for the Mavic 2 Pro doesn't last as long, but you can activate the charge when you're in the field. So Micah's gonna buzz up there, and we're gonna get a reading about how tall we are. Where we at? Where we at? No, where we at? Curious minds want to know.
150. No. I'm gonna say 160.
160 feet. Okay, good to know. So here's the flyover of this first site, 5 Mile. We named it 5 Mile because the map location we were given was literally 5 miles long. But you can see on the ground here, it's just littered with pine tree saplings that are just kind of up and down these troughs that are kind of dug out along the landscape. This is a really big area. It wasn't immediately like, so a lot of the places you weren't really, had a lot of trees. There weren't saplings in this stuff, but they were still in the area. But this open area here, I tried to map it as well as I could, and I think it turned out pretty good. So we're driving around trying to constrain the map to give you an idea of where we were a little bit ago. Right, there's this big tree over here. That's the tallest tree we were just at, so that's as far as we were going to go. And we were hoping this whole area all the way up was just going to be filled with trees like it was down there. But as we come to this side of the road, there's just nothing like there were. So we're just not real accurate with these areas we're given that there's actual coverage of planting. We come into an area like this, where it's a little more clear, and boom, boom, boom. A bunch of saplings just right in a line, like we're used to seeing. But that's the only spot. All right, found another little area with a nice line of trees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yeah, 6. And then it just goes for a while. There's one here too. One here too. Okay, we're in the right stuff. Okay, and then this is just big overview of this whole area. I kind of just tried to map everything between these two roads. It had obviously been managed. There were obviously trees that were going up and down, these kind of stripes you see in the landscape. And this place was also one of the most miserable places I've ever flown. There were all these giant flies flying around the area, and they just felt like you were getting pelted by little tiny pea-shaped objects. You're going to see in a little bit how many there were and just how big they were. Luckily, they weren't biting. But yeah, this is one of the worst takeoff areas I've ever been. This is the site where me and Mike are. You're about to see. We're just getting devastated by flies. So I don't know if this will pick this up or not. You see all those flies? It is miserable out here. They're just all over. God!
Everywhere.
First entered the 5 mile location we were given, and there's saplings all over. But these, the way these are distributed, I don't know. I just don't know what to say. They're saplings in the KML though, so I think they're worth noting. And we kind of used the FPV drone to fly through this sort of this place here. And you see there's just pine trees everywhere, but they're just so randomly distributed that it's hard for me to say that these have been reforested. But again, this is in our area that we were given, this bigger 5 mile KML. So we need to figure that out. Here's another location at the edge of the perimeter of 5 mile. As you can see, all of these are pine tree saplings. I'm not sure if they're ours or not, but I guess they're worth noting. This next area, 3 mile, is just basically just along this whole road on either side. Mike has found some saplings up there she's taking some pictures of, but they're pretty fairly evenly dispersed. You can see one up there. You come down here. Another one up here, maybe not. Yeah, she's got one up there. I see another one, and just along that same line up there. And then you come down here, you got the same thing. You can see one down there. See one right here. Walk a little farther. There's another one in there. I don't know if you can see it, and then yeah, down this hill. Boom, boom. There's a bunch of them. And then there's roads down there, and those roads look like they're planted all alongside those roads. We're going to explore those next. Here we have a flyover of 3 mile KML. Saplings just bound either side of this little road here. It was a really narrow strip. But these trees are really tall. Ordinarily, I'd like to fly a pretty low map to get these saplings here, but you have terrain and pretty tall trees to worry about. Then we get in a little ways. You lose your saplings and the ground cover gets a lot thicker.
I mean, there is a fence.
And this is in our area again. We've noticed that kind of places become devoid of saplings and you'll get back into them again. These look a little like they're more natural than planted.
And we have a fence.
But all the saplings are around the same sort of size too. I don't know. So I wanted to take a second to talk about this area. This particular location we were given basically skirted this whole road. And there's places on the sides of the road where trees are thick and places where they're not. So it leaves some question. But one weird thing is the area kind of deviates from the road and kicks off into this stuff at some point. And then when you get off of this stuff, it's just, I mean, there's trees all over. They're very randomly dispersed, but they're right in this area where the area juts off from the road. So too big of a coincidence for me. So this side of the area, completely full of trees everywhere. See, they're very randomly placed, but they're here. Not in our area. And then you turn up this other side of the road. Up there, look up here. Up there, yeah. They are in our area for sure. This is in our area. They're all over the place, looking about the same. Out, but no longer in our area. Saplings everywhere. Yeah.
Trevor here, getting some lovely FPV video up in here. Sorry, I'm cooling off in the car. It's pretty steamy. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, guys, this is the best area we've seen yet as far as coverage.
Looks beautiful.
The ground is very clear. These saplings just stick out like a sore thumb. They must have a couple years of growth on them too, because they're pretty big.
Bigger than what we've seen on this
whole
trip.
big area. It's going to be a real nice map.
Sap.
Yeah, look at them.
Everywhere.
I'm excited for this one. And there's just trees all over the place here. I'm pretty sure you can pick up a little bit with the FPV. It's just too fun to not fly around a big open area like this. I hope we can kind of get what I'm trying to portray here, is that there are trees all over this landscape. It's big, it's wide open, and they are plentiful. So I definitely don't know what the story is here, but this is definitely in our area. This is the very back, this last spot we were given, 1 mile. They're about the same size as the stuff that we see in the other places. But I don't know. Here's what it looks like. As you get into the open areas, they get a little bit more dispersed. We got the car set up so we can catch some shade, so Micah Ray gets a break while she captures some panos. I'm waiting for the RTK unit to stabilize. When this light in the middle turns green, I can fly. And we're gonna do this awesome spot right here. Like, there are so many. This has obviously been a place where they've come in and done stuff. Like, they're graded out, like we've got good spacing. All this stuff has been cleared. This is one of our perfect spots for the stuff we're doing. And this is a great video showing how evenly distributed these pine trees are, how they're all, you know, gridded out and just dense throughout this entire landscape. This is what you see everywhere here. Some places you kind of get out of the saplings, where they become harder to find, fewer and farther between. But here, there's just excellent coverage. They are everywhere. I think this is exactly what we're kind of looking for when we do these studies. Hopefully you can pick the human being up out here, but Micah is dedicated. She is out there getting saplings, geotag photos. We are done with this site, and we are changed and ready to get out of this heat. It's been super hot here today, but it was a good mission.